You're gonna be just fine.
I just talk. I just talk.
Listen to them, children of the night.
Sic transit gloria.
Thrill me.
Hello everyone, welcome to Kill the Cast. My name is Jerry, and as always I am joined by the ever-quotable Jay.
I'm the Charles Manson of the digital age.
Say it again in Japanese.
Nope, I tried that one episode, and I don't know how well it worked out, so we're going with the English.
Okay, speaking of English, the Silent Hill biker himself, Kenneth, is also here.
Yep, always. Again, woohoo! Weird fucking movie.
And making a triumphant return from Terrifier, she's going to get into the thick of it with us. We've got Heather from Canada.
Hi guys, thanks for having me back.
I've got something thick.
But is it from Canada?
Canadian style.
You know what? I could see Jay going as Canadian Bacon as a porn name.
That'd be a great porn name.
That'd be awesome.
Canadian Bacon's fucking gross, but whatever.
It's just ham.
I don't like ham. I'm not putting ham in my mouth.
And actually, if you go to Canada, you order bacon, you just get regular bacon.
Yeah, you don't get ham, Jerry. You would just get regular
That's
bacon.
fine. I like regular bacon as long as it's crispy. I don't like a lot of fat. I want that shit crisp. I need some blackness.
Sorry, guys. That's my dog.
Okay, he
also likes
bacon also.
We're going to put some headphones on the dog.
All right, we'll have the dog in here so we can interview him.
What's the dog's name?
About the movie?
The dog's name is Mickey.
Mickey?
Representing Canadian Mickey.
Mickey, you are the best doggo, but you have to stop barking. Okay.
Oh, he did. He listened to you. Look at that.
Yes, and dogs know to respect me because I have cats. So
Probably why.
yeah.
Like, shit, I don't want to mess with that.
All right, here we go. Jay, what have you been up to?
Well, I have some awesome news, actually. So I asked for a raise at my full-time job, and they said yes. So I quit Walmart this morning. I've got 1 week left, and then I am only working one job.
Nice.
My
So,
nipples are
hopefully some dedication to the YouTube channel is coming up in the future here. I also have a Freddy and Jason half sleeve planned. It was supposed to be tomorrow, but something happened to my artist, and he's got to not be there. So next Sunday, I will be spending 4 hours in the chair to get this thing jump started.
Very cool.
Dope. All right, Kenneth, what have you been up to?
Nothing.
All right, Heather, what have you been up to?
Well, I watched this really fucked up movie as well, which is actually why I wanted to come on and talk about it, because it, just like Kenneth, it actually messed with me quite a bit, and I thought about it for a long time afterwards. And I've just been going to some art festivals and torturing myself with my grad school I decided to go back to school for. So this is a nice break to be able to chat with you gentlemen tonight.
Oh, what are you going to school for? Does it happen to be about suicide?
Not yet, but I feel like that subject could come up because I'm doing my master's in education, and yeah, there's a lot of people that kill themselves at universities, so who knows?
That
I
is
wonder
true.
why.
Because of well, wait.
Gee, how
hey,
could that be?
Hold up. Question: in Canada, is y'all's tuition an issue like it is in here? Like, do people put themselves in like $20,000 worth of debt for one semester of school in America?
Yes, no. So I actually do work at a university, and the government pays half the tuition, and you pay the other half if you're a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. And it's roughly anywhere between $4,000 to $8,000 a year, depending what program you do. And we have something in Ontario called OSAP. So students who can't afford school can apply for loans, and they don't have to pay off those loans until they graduate, and they get like 6 months of interest free. But even then, the cost of school is still expensive. So there's some students that even with OSAP and bursaries and stuff, they still can't afford to go to school.
So you said that you pay $4,000 to $8,000 a year or a semester?
A year.
A year. Okay, I paid $27,000 for 9 months.
Oh my God. What did you do, Kenneth?
Learning how to work on Harleys.
Wow.
And this is America,
that's-
so that is not his profession.
So Kenneth, I'm going to say something to you that's probably going to, I don't know how you're going to feel about it. So we have apprenticeships here that we pay people to do. So if you decide to be a mechanic, the government pays you to go to school. So they cover your tuition, all that kind of stuff. You have to pay a nominal amount. So for mechanics, they maybe pay $500 a year. and they work through the apprenticeship for 5 years. They work with an employer or multiple different employers, and their progress gets checked, and they get sent back to school, and then they graduate. And honestly, trades is where it's at in Canada. Like, there's a lot of times with students that I tell them to look at the trades because we need more tradespeople, so that's why the government does that.
If Canada could figure out its cold issue, I would move up there, but it's too fucking cold.
It's not that bad right now. I have the same temperature that you guys do. It's like 30 degrees here. It's pretty warm.
30 degrees there. It is 90 degrees here.
Celsius, homie. It's 30 degrees Celsius.
Celsius.
I only speak in America, okay?
Yeah.
If you're not
See,
talking
me and Heather
in America,
have had a conversation about this to where I was actually nice enough to fucking goddamn tell her what our temperature was down here in Celsius. I had to Google it.
Dewey
Hold on,
Decimal
I'm going to
System.
do that right now. So 30 degrees, it's 86 degrees Fahrenheit. 86 degrees.
Okay.
It's warmer than it is in Washington right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fuck. All right. Well, as for me, I have started streaming on my old retro gaming name, The Game Case Show, on Twitch, posting those videos onto The Game Case's YouTube channel. I've only got one up right now because I was just doing a bunch of tests, but I did do like an almost 2-hour stream of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which was fucking ballin'. And also on my YouTube channel, my brother's streams will show up there also. But we're going to be bringing back
How long do streams last on Twitch?
however long you want them to last.
No, I mean like for me to be able to see yours. Like if I were to sign into Twitch later, be able to see it.
Because I have Amazon Prime, which by the way, if anyone has Amazon Prime and does not have a Twitch account, message me because you're going to make a Twitch account with your Amazon Prime and you're going to give me free money. Is what you're going to do.
I can do that. I have an Amazon Prime Twitch
We will
account.
talk after the show. You will support me, and it's great.
Answer my fucking question.
I'm coming back to that, sir and or madam. For me, it will last 60 days because I have Prime. But if you do not have Twitch Prime, it only stays on there for 14 days. But that's why I'm exporting them all to YouTube, so you can go on YouTube and just watch them on there.
Yeah, see, I've got Twitch and I've got Prime. I've never fucking goddamn hooked them together.
Oh, we are going to.
And you get a bunch of free PC games too.
You get a bunch of free PC games.
Does that include Alan Wake?
I do not know.
They change every month, so you got to add them to your account while they're available, and then they're yours forever.
Yeah, but you get a free sub, not the kind you eat, to a Twitch channel, which will it's different than YouTube.
I like eating subs, and I'm not talking about sandwiches.
Well, I had a sub.
That metaphor confuses me.
Well, it dominates me.
And
It
around
dominates you.
Okay, we'll talk about Twitch stuff later, but check me out. I'm doing live streams, bringing back the Game Case, which was a retro video game channel. Now it'll have retro and new stuff. And we'll also be doing like Drunken Challenge Accepted, where me and like 4 other people drink and play retro video games trying to accomplish some kind of challenge. That'll be dope. It'll be fun. I'll have good times with it, so check that out. But that's primarily what I've been doing.
And for anybody out there that wants to know, Jerry and I are going to be Dutch rotering it around the 4th of July.
Yes, I will be in Georgia for the 4th of July. That Saturday, I will be completely annihilated. So if I send you inappropriate messages, I'm sorry.
I hope I get
look
appropriate
forward
messages.
to it.
There will be shirtless pics everywhere.
It's pretty funny when
to
Jerry gets annihilated.
Yeah, I'm friendly, but I also like roast like everyone. So I will just
be roasted.
make fun of you for anything when I'm drunk. It's great.
Jerry, you'd be so much fun to party with.
And if I get really drunk and I hit if I hit Jack Sparrow mode, I will start freestyle rapping.
Yeah.
How much is the ticket down to Georgia for July 4th? Come on, Jay, let's do this.
I don't know, but probably more than it costs to go to school for a year in Canada. Okay, so now that we've gotten all the fun stuff out of the way, tonight
Depression.
we are tackling a movie that means a lot to me. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. It is called Suicide Club from 2001, or in Japan it was called Suicide Circle. This movie is directed by the great director Sion Sono, who is a master artist in a whole new level. He wrote and directed this movie, and basically it is Japan is hit with a string of suicides, and a detective is trying to figure out the mystery behind it and put it to an end. That's half the story. The other half is a girl's boyfriend commits suicide, and while he's doing it, lands on her like an idiot. And now she's trying to figure out the mysterious effect of his suicide. There's kind of two
Imagine the
stories.
odds of that.
What?
Imagine the odds of that for her to just be walking down there. I mean, because I don't remember whether they had ever made it clear of whether she was like headed to his house or something.
They don't make it clear where she was coming from, but he does talk about how, it's fate that I hit you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I remember that when he's laying on the concrete, like looking up at her, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I fell on you." I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" Yeah. It's like, how if you're in a relationship with somebody, how do you fucking deal with that? You're just walking along, headed to wherever you're going, their house, whatever, and then all of a sudden, bam.
What's worse is how
fucking hit to the head.
Solved the conspiracy.
Yeah, and how she talks about him. She's like, if you're thinking there's some big like mystery to this, there's not. He was just the type. Bitch, you were wrong.
Yeah, well, see, going back to that, I honestly think she was doing that on purpose because she didn't want to fucking talk to the cops and shit. And I mean, then they obviously fucking made her goddamn strip down, which was an unfortunate thing that we didn't get to see in the movie. But,
I don't know what movie you were watching.
You did not see her
She didn't
completely.
get naked. I think that's what he's referring to.
No, I know. I'm being.
Yeah.
But
I thought her reaction was pretty much someone that was in shock. When she got up and the conversation she had, like, now I'm left to go on living, or I have to go on living, and she kind of walks away. Like, I agree with you, Kenneth, but I think in a situation, if your boyfriend or girlfriend fell on top of you, like, I don't know how I would react either. I'd probably in such shock and disbelief that I don't know if her reactions were completely far off of what someone would actually do in that situation.
I don't know. My fiance fell onto me multiple times this morning, and I was not in shock.
Did she hurt your ear, though, during it? Was your ear okay?
Or did she fall from like fucking 15 stories up onto your body?
Does it count as 15 stories if we were covered in my poetry?
Ooh.
Okay. We will get to this. I want to introduce our
sticky poetry.
our characters real quick. We have 3 detectives. Detective Kuroda, who is the father. He's the main detective. Then we have the young detective, Detective Shibusawa. And then we have our old detective, Detective Murata, who you might recognize from Kill Bill. I just call him Sad Face Man.
Actually, I noticed it, and I thought about it when I was watching this, is that I really, really like the fact that I've seen enough fucking Asian movies to where I can recognize actors from other ones.
Also, Detective Kuroda, he was in the Japanese and the American version of The Grudge.
Yep, he was also in Audition.
Yes, he was
the
the main
Grudge
guy in
was
Audition. Directed by the same guy.
same. Yeah.
And he was in, Jerry, you probably don't, he was in War, the one that's got Jet Li and fucking Jason Statham in it. He was in that.
I have not seen it.
Yeah.
That movie was disappointing.
It was, but he was still in that. So like I said, I think it's cool that because I've seen so many Asian movies, not just horror movies, but Asian movies in general. Yeah, I mean, Jerry, you know how my dad was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've seen so fucking many that it's really cool when I can start recognizing fucking actors from different countries from foreign movies. It's nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So tied into the detectives, we also have Kyoko, also known as the Bat, who is a young lady who is trying to solve the mystery herself through the internet. Then we also have Misuko, who is the main girl whose boyfriend Masa is the one we were talking about earlier, who jumped off and hit her in the head and died. Then we also have Genesis, who needs no introduction, but we will talk about him later.
He's my favorite.
So oh God, he's fucking
everybody's favorite.
I love Genesis. He's awesome.
Oh my God. Okay, so I want to talk about how this movie starts off, because anytime I'm talking about this movie and I'm like, you should check out Suicide Club, and they're like, what's it about? I'm just like, fuck what it's about, okay? The beginning of it is 52 Japanese schoolgirls. I'm sorry, 54. Is it 54? I think it's 54.
54.
Get it right.
54.
Yeah, 54. Jump in front of a fucking moving train. That should sell you.
I
Watch
wish it had been
because of that.
gory. Like more gory than what it was. I was.
Well,
I wish it had been like Tag.
Well, yeah, but this is also 2001. Is extremely low budget. The guy who did the special effects is actually the director of Tokyo Gore Police.
Yeah, he is.
Which is, if you want a fucked up weird movie, that's a good one to do also.
I have the DVD. It's fucking fantastic.
Yes.
I've never seen that.
Oh, you would fucking love it.
I've wanted to watch it.
That fucking amputee gimp. Ugh.
Hey man, there's always a good movie when it's got an amputee gimp in it.
It's weird.
You can fly.
Yeah, so, but this is, that beginning is fucking amazing. And then you also have a preteen pop idol group called Desert or Desart, depending on which part of the movie you're in, who gives you fun songs throughout this whole movie. So, this being one of my favorite movies, I've watched this movie many, many times, but Jay, Kenneth, and Heather have all never seen this movie before.
True.
Until this podcast.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do now is we're going to get some first impression from these guys on how this movie affected them, and what they thought. Who wants to volunteer to go first? I'm not going to make someone.
Come on, man.
Kenneth, you can go first.
Damn. It made me feel sullied and unusual. I was not right for a few hours. It was fucked up. This movie was fucked up. The level of social commentary about the human condition that was in this movie was fucking insane.
By the way, save your opinions for what the movie means till later. We will all
Okay,
get
I'll
into
leave
that.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the first impressions, it was fucked up. I mean, it was just fucked up. That's all I can really say. And it's rare that I'm just like, my God, this movie was fucked up. And like I said, I wasn't right for like 2 or 3 hours after I got done watching it. I was damn just thinking about it, and yeah, it was just fucked up. It was fucked up. That's it. That's what I got. Fucked up.
Okay, Jay, what do you got? What was your first impression?
It was just fucked up, man. Super fucked up. Just.
I mean, just.
I liked it. I'm really glad that you recommend watching it twice, because I was kind of confused the first time, still confused the second time, and then I watched a video to kind of help me explain it, and then I was like, oh, I'm just an idiot. Because I got a lot of the metaphors and stuff, or what I got, but there was a couple things that were just lost in translation for me that I missed because subtitles. So that's my fault. But it was good. It was really good. It didn't really affect me the way it sounds like it affected Kenneth and Heather. Maybe because I'm so used to suicide, that part didn't really bother me so much. So it's hard to say, but it was still really good.
Okay, Heather.
Let me.
Oh, here we go. What?
No, go ahead, Kenneth.
I just want to go into one thing. It wasn't the suicide itself that had me fucked up.
It was the question.
Yeah, it was the rest of the other stuff. It was everything wrapped around it.
That's fair.
It was children with that coughed every 5 seconds on the phone.
That really bothered me, by the way.
Are you connected to yourself?
Yeah.
Would
I
you?
was like, what the fuck is going on? But the bad thing about it is that when I was watching that and that was going on, when I was reading the subtitles, I could hear that kid in that voice saying that stuff, and that's never happened to me when I was watching a movie in subtitles before. It's never happened to me. It's just, I was just watching it in subtitles. No, it was like that kid started speaking in English as I was reading it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that kid grown up and calling a sex chat line? What are you wearing? Fuck my cock.
I am wearing short shorts. Would you like to put cheese on me?
Are you connected?
Is the dildo connected to your ass? Okay. Heather, what did you think about this movie?
I don't know how to lead after that. Honestly, I found the movie really heavy. That opening scene, like, I'm going to be straight with you guys. Suicide makes me really uncomfortable. I've never been suicidal. And in Toronto, we have an underground subway system, and it's not uncommon that people jump in front of the train. And there's times that I've been on that subway system and I've seen people and I've thought, oh my God, are you going to jump? Because it does happen frequently. So the opening scene, and I don't like kids being hurt. That's definitely something that bothers me. So I'm a little more sensitive to it. So that's actually why I wanted to talk about it, because it did stay with me. But I thought this is going to be deeper than just suicide. Obviously, this suicide is shock. You know, there's 54 young girls that are jumping in front of this train. I agree it probably could have been more bloodier, not that the impact wasn't there, but
there's a deleted scene where right before they jump, they're asked, you either have to sleep with Jerry or jump in front of the train.
Oh yeah.
Well, we see what that choice was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard choice, I guess, but
I'll sleep with Jerry.
I would sleep with you, Jerry, over jumping in front of the train, but
It's such a hard choice.
They said my dick wasn't big enough.
That's why we need to just go ahead and spoon Jerry, that because we kind of match.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Combined, we make half a man.
Anyway, just to conclude, I thought this movie is going to be pretty in depth, and it's going to cover a lot of stuff bigger than suicide. So that's why I was so interested in talking with it about you guys, because when we talked about Terrifier before, it's just a slasher. Like there's something really deep to that. And I thought with this one, it's going to be very deep. And I wanted to hear your thoughts on it and kind of explore the meaning behind it and how relevant it is today. And Jerry and I talked about that earlier, and I won't go into too much of that right now, but how much I felt it predicted certain things in the future.
Yeah. For the record, Terrifier is a deep commentary on how the Ringling Brothers are a traveling enslavement camp used to entertain the masses, and one day us, the poor, will become the enslaved for the rich masses.
That'd be a good movie.
That is what that Terrifier movie is about.
For sure.
Accurate.
For sure. Exactly.
Hence, we start on The Greatest Showman.
I prefer The Prestige, but okay.
If we're gonna go with Hugh Jackman, I just prefer him naked.
Bacon. Okay, so next, I think I want to go over what were some of y'all's just flat out favorite scenes? I guess I should say I watched this movie many years ago. I've seen it many of times. I absolutely fucking love it. I adore it. I think it's the best movie about suicide out there. I can't think of another one better than it, and that's all that really matters to me. So let's talk about some favorite scenes. Kenneth, what was one of your favorite scenes for this movie?
When the kids are at school, right before they jump off the top of the building.
Oh yeah, when they're all talking, you have the group of girls talking about how they can't believe this happened and how one thing's kind of cool, and then two other guys show up and they're like, hey, let's all kill ourselves. Let's fuck before we do it.
Yeah, that whole scene right there, the reason why I really like it is because the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, they're just joking about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just what it was. They were joking, they were having a good time and whatever else. And then, they actually killed themselves. And I was like, I was kind of blown away by that for a little bit. And then that one right after the big group jumps, you got the girl that goes over to the other dude, and the guy's just like, no, stop. And then they both go down. Yeah. I mean, that whole scene there was interesting all the way around. Because, like I said at first, I was just like, okay, they're just joking, blah, blah, blah. And then they turn around and they fucking all kill themselves. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of a great connection to teenagers. You always hear news stories about teenagers who took jokes too far. It started out as just a joking conversation and then became very real.
Right. Because even when they got up there, like the one girl that's up there, and she's like, oh, I'm dying now.
Yeah.
It still seems like it's just a joke, fun. And then, they all fucking go. And I was like, oh, fuck.
And then the one girl who didn't turns around and goes, this is the first, meaning of the Suicide Club. And then she jumps.
Yeah. I mean, because I was thinking at least one of them wouldn't have what it took. And, obviously that one dude, he didn't want to do it, but, that other girl drug him down. But
there is a manga that was made for this. It was made at the same time the movie was. And Sion Sono asked this manga creator to make it. And the guy was like, okay, well, what do you want to be about? Like, you want to just give me the script for the movie? And Sion Sono was like, nope, here's the general idea. Do whatever the fuck you want. So the manga deals actually where for instance, Dessert isn't a band. It's one woman who's a singer who actually glorifies cutting herself. And when the groups of people kill themselves, it actually comes to find out that it's this one girl named Misuko who actually kind of transfers its existence to the next person who survives the mass killing. So, like, when a bunch of girls jump in front of a train in the manga, one girl survives, and she becomes the next cult leader, so to say. So it has more of a paranormal kind of thing. It's very much like, I know y'all have probably never seen it, but anyone who's into Junji Ito, is very much like Tomie, having that constant changeover. And there's also a novel that's connected to this series, but it's never been translated out of Japanese. And then there is a sequel to this movie that's a prequel and a sequel, and also not connected but connected, called Noriko's Dinner Table. It's a completely different beast. You can go watch it if you want, but do not go watching it to get answers. You will just get more mystery on top of mystery.
Yay, mystery.
But with that being said, Jay, what was one of your favorite?
Fucking
scenes?
Kenneth took my favorite scene. Like,
Well, what was
literally,
your
and for the
second
exact
favorite scene?
same reasons too. The fucking build up. I'll figure out a different scene as I'm talking, but the fucking build up to it, like you're like, oh ha, kids are having fun, and they're just like they switch from jokey to let's fucking do this. Bloop, dead. Fucked me up. That was shit. It took me by surprise. If I had to pick a second favorite scene, shit. Fucking Kenneth, man.
I can just
When
come
we're
back
introduced to the fucking roll of skin.
Mm-hmm.
Kenneth, you don't get to pick a second scene. Shut
Yeah,
the fuck
stop
up.
it.
I'm trying to
gonna
help
run out of
Jay.
scenes.
Jay needs help, but not in that way.
I need all kinds of help.
Jay, you think about this. Heather, do you have a favorite
Yeah.
scene?
Actually, I do, and I'm going to just go off of what Kenneth was saying, but I'm going to go down just a little bit of a different route because I don't want to change my scene, because that was my favorite scene. And what really actually stood out to me in that scene was the collectiveness of it. And I work with a lot of teenagers, and I can tell you right now, I see stuff happening like that all the time. One person starts off with a joke, oh yeah, that's so funny, we should do it, and then all of a sudden they become one. And I think that ties into, are you connected to yourself? Because when they jumped, they were all connected to each other, except for those three that stayed behind. And I felt like they were struggling with whether they wanted to be with the collective or not that jumped, and eventually they did. And the one kind of gave a little bit of that, we're the chartered members of the Suicide Club, and we have to do this. And I think that whole scene from the girls coming up onto the patio, and I won't reiterate, just as Kenneth said beautifully, that the conversation went from fluffy and fun to dark quickly. And I think that happens nowadays as well, more quickly with social media. And that's what really stood out to me, is that one person will start something and it will be a joke and it will be funny and they don't mean it, but then someone else ups it and someone else ups it. And I think it really spoke to society.
Eating Tide Pods.
Yeah, absolutely. Next thing we know, we're eating Tide Pods.
Guys, go back to
yeah.
the olden ways. When I was a teenager, we didn't eat Tide Pods. We just joked around about sucking each other's dick until we finally did it.
Jerry
you
gets
eating?
great head.
Jerry.
Yeah, the back
Jerry
of my
gets
head is
great
beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I like his
All
long
that
hair.
fluffy hair to run my fingers through.
Yeah, I want to talk about one of my favorite scenes that a lot of people dismiss this scene as just kind
Are you
of
gonna take mine? Because I have mine.
Okay, go then. I will. Because I can come up with every scene in this movie is my fucking
It would
favorite.
be
Go ahead.
fucking hilarious if your scene was the one So, thinking about it while you guys were talking, multitasking is hard. My head's on fire now. The scene where the detective comes home and finds his entire family dead.
Oh god, that fucking scene is brutal.
It's brutal. It's fucking. What are the words? It's powerful. It's a really powerful scene, and it's fucking sad.
Yeah, and because it does kind of come out of nowhere. Because this is a scene that gets highly discussed in a lot of conversations about Suicide Club, because they wonder what the connection he has with his family is and how well it is. Because, like, you see when he calls his family dinner, his family meeting, his daughter immediately turns on the TV and then pretty much ignores him. The mother doesn't really back him. She doesn't really say much in this movie, doesn't have much of a presence at all, which is a common thing in Japanese society where women do not have a presence for ones that age.
He didn't even know his son had a tattoo.
Yeah, and then for his son was so eager to help him, and he kind of let his son help him, but he also kind of didn't give a shit. And his son obviously knew a lot of what was going on and was trying to, show him, but he didn't even know his son well enough to know that his son had a tattoo, and that to trust his son to know what the internet going is. You have to trust the youth to know what's the hip and happening thing, So he finds out that his whole fucking family's dead, and that phone call he has with the coughing kid is fucking harsh. And then a girl takes the phone and she's like, how come you weren't able to have empathy for others? Which is another thing. I will say, this is one thing that bothers me about the scene. The girl says that he does not have empathy for others, but nothing in this movie shows that he doesn't have empathy for others.
But he's...
Because
yes, but they also don't show that he does either.
Well, he wants to actually go and investigate the suicides. Even though his boss is like, nope, there's no need to investigate them. It's not murder. He still wants to investigate them. Whenever he walks past that one crime scene, he fixes the person's missing sign, which I feel is him showing empathy. So okay. I wonder if they're talking about the. To me, I think empathy was maybe the wrong choice of word, or if they're using empathy not in the way we would normally use it, like empathy for like people, but the empathy he doesn't seem to have for his family because he puts his job before his family.
Yeah, I think that's actually really good, Jerry, because I think I don't know if he had a lot of empathy with his job. I think he was just doing his job. Like, he's a detective, and that's your job, to solve crimes or things that are happening. But I think you hit it right there when you said empathy with his family. I think that was a good connection there that you said.
Yeah.
Or not connected.
Yeah, and then you have the young detective Shibusawa, when his reaction to the younger boss man saying, this is a murder, we need to investigate this, and old man Murata's like, we need to investigate this now, and Shibusawa is just like, oh, now it's a murder because it happened to one of us? It's been a murder the whole fucking time.
Yeah, he seems like he's the only one that really, like, is genuinely concerned, and you see, like, the toll that it takes on him as the movie progresses.
Yeah, so in this world, because you can take a lot of in this world, there's basically 3 connections that are lined up by the 3 songs. This kind of goes into my whole theory part of everything, but I want to showcase something. There's the song Mail Me, which is about your connection with others. There's Jigsaw Puzzle, which is about your connection with society. And there's Live As You Please, which is connection with self. If you take this in with the 3 detectives, you have Live As You Please is obviously the youngest detective, Shibusawa, because he seems the one to have the connection with himself. He has the empathy that you see at the train station when he gets kind of sick at the idea of all these people killing themselves, him wanting to get with Misuka to save her and keep her safe. Then you have Murata, who seems to be the connection with society, as he's kind of like a very old, rugged, he represents the traditional Japanese salaryman. You do your job, you do your job. He blames himself that he couldn't see the murders. He blames his ability at his job to do that. He is the connection with society. He's Jigsaw Puzzle. And then you have our main detective, the father, Kurata, who is the connection with others, because his whole thing is how is he connected with his family? How is he connected with others? How is he connected with the people he works with? Like he kind of makes fun of the young detective Shibusawa when he goes out to give the girl an umbrella and shit. So there's all these like in-depth things that are kind of in there, and you kind of can really put together that in this scene of him getting the phone call after his family's all killed themselves, and him grabbing the gun, pointing the gun at the mirror, kind of saying, we are the enemy. These people that are quote unquote getting people to kill themselves, they aren't the enemy. We are the enemy. We are the enemy to ourselves, which rolls into not being connected with oneself, which we'll get into later. But that scene is also just a hard-hitting scene when you really get involved in it, because you can get deep in these characters, and they don't give you that much on the characters, but you can get deep into it because you can connect it with like Kenneth said, human nature.
Yeah. This one. Yes.
One of my favorite scenes is the kidnapping of the bat being taken to the lair of Genesis, the bowling alley.
You would say that.
Because I want to get into this. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, this scene is so misplaced. It's so misplaced," and I want to point out why it's not.
You talking about the kidnapping itself, or after she gets there?
From the kidnapping to the whole Genesis saga, basically.
I love this dude.
So, Genesis is a representation of youth in revolt, wanting to be famous now through the wide access they have through the internet. Later on, I'm going to talk about a connection that you have in this movie, and you have the connection of empathy, which is Detective Kurata, and then you have the connection of ego, which is Genesis. Genesis wants to be famous, he wants to be celebrated, he wants to be seen as unique and an individual. And in Japanese culture, you don't get seen as an individual. You're supposed to be that puzzle piece that fits in with society. You're supposed to make it in there. Genesis doesn't want that. He's the new generation. He's going to cause a revolution of individuality, but not through hard work and determination. No, he's doing it through a fast, quick, easy extreme, taking credit for something he did not do, and putting himself out into the public. And like when he says, "I'm the Charles Manson of the digital age," you can really link that, because Charles Manson is given credit for killing Sharon Tate and all them, when in all reality he wasn't there. And Charles Manson never really killed anyone. He raped a lot of people, mostly boys when he was in prison school, but he wasn't this violent killer. He was a dude who just wanted to get laid a lot. But to keep people out in the desert with him, he had to keep, pushing the ante until one of his crew members pushed the ante by killing someone. And then he was like, "Fuck it, we're in it now."
LSD.
Yeah. So like, he is the revolution and gets credit for something he really didn't do. Like, there's the quote from, what the fuck is that sound? Hello? What's someone like?
Ain't me.
No,
not me.
Water?
Oh, there's my kitchen behind me. Here, I'll put my stuff on my...
Oh, okay, that's what it is. It's her kitchen. Okay. So, like Charles Manson talks about the dispensation of life and death, saying, "How are you going to put me to death? How are you going to lock me for saying that I said to go kill someone when you don't know that there's no proof that I did. I didn't do that." Same thing with Genesis. Except he wants the credit. He wants the illusion, the illusion of grandeur that Charles Manson got forced upon. Genesis willingly wants it, and he's using this other person who has an identity on the internet to help push for him to take credit for shit he did not do. In his song, if you listen to it, you can fucking see many examples in there of him talking about this.
I love Genesis' song.
Oh my god, it's so good.
So good. Fuck.
I loved his
I had to
song.
rewind it and listen to it again.
Oh yeah, I
really wanted to absorb it.
I watched a YouTube video of it right before we started recording.
And
I
then
watched a couple of scenes.
the song at the end that's playing during the ending credits, the dessert song at the end.
Live as you please.
Yeah, that one was like, I thought that song was a perfect ending to this movie.
Yes. And this movie is going to confuse a lot of people. And here shortly, we will actually get into we're going to get into what you might need explained as for only seeing it once or twice, and then we will actually get into our theories of what we all think it means. So I'm going to let them go first when it comes to that, so I can see how close their theories are to mine, considering I've seen the movie like 20 times. So with that being said, Jay,
yes.
Do you have any questions that you just still don't get in this movie that maybe one of us can answer?
No, so I will share with everybody the question I asked you in chat because I was fucking dumb. So I completely misunderstood that the guy who killed himself and landed on his girlfriend and his girlfriend had matching tattoos. I thought the girl's tattoo ended up on the roll of flesh before she killed herself somehow. And I was like, Jerry, how the fuck is that possible? Is some kind of weird time loop going on? He's like, no, there's no time traveling at all.
For the record, she never kills herself.
Right, but I mean, you know what I mean. Like, she goes to the place and she gets her skin removed. Well, yeah, but I mean, because she had the her skin was on there, so I assumed at one point she was going to kill herself. But then I watched it again. I was like, all right, I'll watch it again. I was like, I don't get it. And I was like, do you have a YouTube video or something I can watch to try and help me prep for this now that I watched it twice? And then during it, the guy says that the cop notices they have matching tattoos. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. There is no weird time travel tattoos.
Okay. Kenneth, did you have any questions that you wanted answered?
Not really questions directly. It's more of conversation,
okay,
that I want to go into because there's so many things that you can go like to me the main part of the two stories was fairly linear. You know what I'm saying? What was going on, what was happening, and stuff like that. It's the underlining message or messages that this movie promotes that is the object of conversation. Because, like I said, I mean, you got your basic story of a detective who's trying to figure out what this big shit's going on. Shit happens to his family. That's how he's linked to it emotionally, psychologically, and whatever. And then you've got, the other story like you talked about where the girl, sees her old man and how she's involved in it and how she's directly involved in it and how she becomes. And then you got, like you just brought up, you got Genesis who's trying to take credit for everything and he's just fucking amazing. And he's one of them dudes that I would probably be standing in the bowling alley with.
By the way, that is a musician. His name is Raleigh.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that explains why he's so cute.
He was part of the Visual Kei movement, with the biggest fan of that movement being Duran Gray.
Yeah, Duran Gray is awesome.
Yes, they are. And so all that. I mean, so like I said, the stories are pretty linear, but it's everything that's the artistic side of each one of these stories and what's going on in it. That's where it's at.
Okay, Heather, did you have any questions?
Well, it's great going after Kenneth because I can just start with I agree with Kenneth and I'd like to go in the same route that he's going. But I think the other area that I would like, do have some questions about is I understand what I think is the big picture or the macro view of the film. Where I have struggles is the sexualization of the children because I actually channeled my inner Jerry and tried to do some research on this movie. And it talked about the sexualization of the children and
I wonder if you read the same article as me, because I want to point out how that article is so much bullshit.
Okay, maybe that's the case then.
Okay.
Maybe we'll talk about that later. But I also, I would like to go down that route because I had a hard time. I kind of saw it, but
Okay, yeah, because that's what I want to point out. There is no sexualization of children in this movie. Name one part of this movie that sexualizes children.
I thought maybe the young ladies dancing around could have been portrayed. Like, I didn't think it was sexualized, but I thought, well, maybe that's where people could.
The reason I don't think, there are two reasons I don't think that's sexualized is one, in Japan, it's a very popular, in most Asian countries, they manufacture, you know how we all joke around about NSYNC and Backstreet Boys being manufactured? Yeah. That's a real thing for J-pop and K-pop.
It is. They actually go to, like, camps to train, and there's...
Yes.
Like, they have to keep a certain physique and a diet and physical appearance to keep their record contract. It has almost zero to do with talent.
One of the biggest K-pop groups, used to be. Now they're not so much because they all had to go to the military. No, not BT. It's BTS, first of all. They're not a fucking BTK killer. They're not
damn it.
breaking into fucking houses and tying
We don't
people up
know.
and murdering them. That's BTS, which I like BTS.
They
They're
were on
not,
Saturday Night Live
but
the other day.
who I like more is Big Bang. And Top from Big Bang
Yeah,
actually
Fantastic
got
Baby.
rejected originally because he was overweight. So he actually had to lose a bunch of weight on his own before he could join into the group. And they start off very young doing this. In Japan, it's the same way. Japan has what they call idol groups. And idol groups are usually preteen to teen girls, much like you see Baby Metal. Very huge right now.
I fucking love Baby
That
Metal
is
so
the
much.
metal version of a J-pop idol group, and they started off they were like 14, with the oldest one being I think like a year older. They were like 13, 14, 14, 15 kind of thing. And in Dessert they average at 12.5, but everything they're singing about, some people like to try to say that it's sexual. But I don't see it as sexual. I see it as a more generic friendship, maybe romance. Because when they say "mail me," they talk more about. I feel like they come more across as like becoming lifelong friends, which is very big at that age.
I agree with you, Jerry. I agree.
And then as for the dancing, if it was going to be sexual, trust me, the Japanese know how to dress people up in very short skirts.
This is true.
And at best, these girls are wearing tank tops and not spaghetti straps. But like,
they're wearing like pajama shirts.
Yeah, they weren't wearing. Anyway, it was something that I read in the articles, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Because and then there's one other thing. I wasn't sure if the little boy on the phone, if the coughing meant anything, or if it's just to annoy the fuck out of us. So I wasn't sure what you guys or what you thought about that.
I do not have an answer for that one. I am going to say it is a quirk. It is not. It's meant to just be strange in upon itself. It's meant to just add to the atmosphere of weirdness. So I don't think there's like this deep meaning to it. I think literally Sion Sono was like, the shit's weird. We can be weirder. Because he does shit like that. Either that or the kid breathed in too many fucking dust from being in a wooden box filled with fucking ducks.
Quite possible, yeah.
So, okay. So before we go into theories, there's something I need to address, which is suicide in Japan. Suicide in Japan is a very, very big problem. It is actually one of the number one causes of death in Japan. Actually, they have one of the highest rates of suicide for males, 15 to 35, whether they're teenagers or they're salarymen. A lot of them kill themselves because they're pressured into it because they don't fit in society or they're not successful, and they can't deal with the stress. You also have a lot of elderly who kill themselves because financially it could help out if they're gone, and they also, their family can get paid because Japan doesn't say if you kill yourself you don't get the money. As in America, if you kill yourself, no one's getting paid out life insurance. Japan's cool with that.
Wait. You don't get life insurance if you kill yourself in the States.
No.
Correct.
No, because it's fraud, quote unquote.
Okay.
Like I could
You
get a
have to
policy
die.
on myself, throw myself off of a building, and then my wife collects, and they don't. They see it as fraud.
Right. Yeah. So, it's one of those weird things about here because insurance companies don't want to pay out if they don't have to.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I want to point out some things. Japan's highest suicide rate was actually in 2009. 8 years after this movie came out. But suicide rates did drop in 2013, 2014. But for teenagers, they've actually started to rise again in 2018. And like I said, the most common suicide are males between 15 and 13. So Japan's suicide rate against the I'm going to say 8, but technically I only have the numbers for 7 of the most economical countries. We basically stand at this, and this is suicides per 100,000 people. Russia tops the list at 21.8. Japan. Oh, Heather, I did fix this. Japan is at 19.5. France is at 15.1. The U.S. is at 13.4. Germany is 12.6. Canada is 11.3. Britain is 7.5. And Italy is 7.2. So that's the 8 top economical countries and their suicide rates. So this is technically, the countries that make the most money, the most industrial countries, that's their suicide rate. Russia is beating Japan, but let's be honest, it's Russia.
Yeah, it's really fucking cold there. I would consider it if I was stuck there.
Yeah. So, and this is statistics from 2014. So, suicide is a very big issue, and that's kind of where we come in with this movie. So, with that being said, I think it's time to get into what each of you think the movie is about. Now, I'm hoping a lot of y'all are going to actually say a lot of the stuff that I am going to end up saying. So, some of this stuff might get repeated by me. But I'm hoping y'all got this movie a lot easier than I did, because it took me years to get this movie and write down what I think it means. So with that being said,
I would like to go first because I probably am going to have the least amount to say. And if I go last or second and Kenneth or Heather has a shit ton to say, then I might not have anything.
That's fair. Go ahead, Jay.
Okay, so watched it twice under your recommendation, and I watched the video. I had my opinions before watching the video, and the video kind of mirrored what I thought. So I wasn't too far off from that person's opinion anyway. That the overall metaphor for the movie was about the disconnect of adults from youth, Japan's suicide rate, and how suicide is treated in Japan in general. These were kind of just assumptions I was going on. And how technology is advancing and affecting our world for that time period. Obviously, some of those metaphors don't translate to current times, but so that's kind of the basic gist I got out of it. It's very hard for me to get deep into these kind of metaphors and subjects sometimes if it's not something that I'm, able to elaborate on in my own head. So that's kind of where my opinion stopped. But I do love learning about it. As an example, Hereditary being about mental health and passing it on to your kids really hits home for me. So that movie fucked me up. I've talked about that a couple of times.
Oh, I can't wait till we do that movie so I can say how I wish I could agree with that statement, but they threw it out the window with the ending.
That's okay. But so that one I thought a lot about, and I have a lot of metaphors and theories. And then Mother is a little bit more on the nose with being about the Bible. So all the different scenes in the movie, I can easily place them to what they're supposed to mean and represent. But this one there's a lot to it, and I'm really excited to hear you guys go over it. But that's kind of where the basis of my thoughts were about it.
Okay. Kenneth, let's let you do your deep dive into this. Also, wait, before you do, Jay, have you ever seen Cairo, which is the Japanese Pulse?
No, I have not.
You would
so good.
Really like it. It's extremely depressing.
Oh, good.
And it also deals with suicide, the internet, and ghost.
So I've seen the American one
Okay,
once.
no, that's trash.
No, it's not.
It's trash.
It's not.
Trash.
Not.
If you listen closely, you can hear the ghost. Trash.
If you can listen even closer to the other ghost, go fuck yourself.
Okay, I don't like doing remakes on a horror coliseum. I would make a fucking I keep wanting to say example. It's not example. What's the word I'm looking for? An exception. There we go. An exception to do Cairo versus Pulse.
Okay. We'll do it.
Okay, anyway, Kenneth, go ahead. Being wrong.
All right. Okay. Well, if you're going to put me in a negative place, then how the fuck am I going to talk about this one if you're already putting me
I'm sorry.
in a negative place? Go
Kenneth,
fuck yourself.
Just
go fuck yourself.
Hairy chest makes me erect when I think
there
about
we go. Come on, man.
how you
Get
would
my
nibble
fucking
at
genitals moving.
my
I
nipple.
love thinking about
You want me to turn my cam back on really quick?
Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right, I think he's good. I think he's hard. Let's do this.
No. All right. So first, let me go ahead and say that there's going to be moments like there have been in the past few podcasts that we've done where I just get fucking flabbergasted because I'm going to have a hard time explaining from my brain to my mouth. There is so much shit going on in this movie, but I think as a whole, what this comes down to is, in my opinion, I think this movie is about how far we get away from being who we are and getting more into societal norms that people want us to do. That's the reason why I think that the whole thing behind the disconnect that was in the movie was there. And how you still, like the thing that was said is where the kid said the thing about how you still have connections with other people. Your connections to other people are still there, or your connections to your earthly things are still there. But what about your connection to yourself? And that's where it really got me, is because I've sat down and I've thought to myself, okay, am I being true to me? Am I being true to my own, within reason? Am I being true to myself for the most part every day? Not really. You know what I'm saying? Just about everything that I do in most forms is for someone else. Always has been. Like right now, I have the responsibilities of being a father. I'm not fucking goddamn bitching about that. I love being a dad. I love taking care of my kids. But at the same time, okay, when you get past your responsibilities as a parent, what else do you do every day? Like when I go to work every day, I don't consider going to work, even though it's supposed to be a positive thing and I do it to have money and whatever else. I am literally whoring myself out for $17 an hour for 8 hours every day. I get up in the morning, put on my uniform to go be a whore to somebody else for 8 hours. That's exactly what I do. And so and a lot of times when people do things like that, they don't think of it that way. They don't think of it that way. You are selling yourself to somebody else every day. You are a fucking slave to the grind. And I think that the social commentary in that is the disconnection that you have from being who you are and what you want and things like that. I think that was a big thing for me. That it really got me thinking about that, especially with where I brought up the song at the end where it talks about living your life for you and things like that. That was where I was just sitting there and I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, man. I mean, it's just like there's a whole thing, for instance, another way that I saw it is you take the girls in the band themselves. I mean, look at what they're doing. They've got their music and stuff, and we know that where they're going with their music, and we know that they're a link to this club and whatever else. But you look at what they're doing. I mean, these girls are going up there and damn, they're, for lack of a better term, selling themselves at fucking 12 years old for what they're doing. And
so real quick, I want to bring up a song by Hobo Johnson that would tie into very much what you said. It's called 3%, and it's about having a 3% chance of making it in the music industry. And there's a part of where he goes, but I said I made $200 my first week just playing music and being who I want to be. She said, you think that's acceptable? You think that's an acceptable amount? I made twice that amount working at a shitty fucking job that I hate. And every morning I wake up, I get really sad. And I was just about to say at my friend's birthday party, before they cut me off, I was just about to say, wait. You think that's an acceptable amount?
Yeah. I mean, exactly, man. I mean, it's like, it's going into doing what makes you, doing things that it makes life enjoyable for you. And I think that's even in Genesis himself, that guy. It's even with that. I mean, look at what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's taking credit for something that somebody else is doing just to be famous. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, again, it's hard for me to describe exactly going from my brain to my mouth what I'm trying to get across here.
I think you said it perfectly. And that happens every day, that people take credit for other people's things to be famous. I think you said it perfectly. I don't think you're having any problem saying what you're saying.
Well, when I edit this show and put it out, I actually change all of our names to Jerry so that I get credit for everything everyone says.
Oh, that explains so much.
But I mean, it's the overall whole thing of what I got from it that I'm having. To me, I feel like I'm having trouble getting across. It's you being separating, literally grabbing a hold of your inner, for lack of a better term, your soul, and tearing it apart for materialistic gain, for things that are, to coin a phrase from Fight Club, we go work a fucking shitty job all goddamn day to buy shit that we do not need. And how much happiness at the end of the day are we really getting from it? What are we really getting from it? When you look around at all this shit that we accumulate, at the end of the day, how happy are you? I mean, Jerry, answer me that question, Jerry.
I have a lot of shit, and I tried to kill myself in October, so.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. I mean, I hate to throw you out there like that, but
you're good.
That's exactly my point. I mean, think about it.
Well, just think about the last few years and all the celebrities that have killed themselves. Lead singer Linkin Park, super fucking rich. He's married with kids, had millions of people who adored him, and wasn't worth anything. Robin Williams, one of the most successful comedians on the fucking planet. Again, millions of people that adored him. Successful TV show, could be in any movie he wanted to be in.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
He was banging Asia fucking Argento and still killing himself.
And eating cow testicles.
And, maybe that explains why he killed himself.
I fucking
and
love
also to
watching
bring
Bourdain's show.
The ladies into this, Kate Spade, which I don't know if you gentlemen know who Kate Spade is,
I do.
but she is quite a rich person, and had it fucking all. Like when you look from the outside looking in, right?
Yep.
And so, like, if you go back to that scene where the detective is on the phone right after his family all goes out, if you listen to what he's saying to him, and then you see the look on his face where he's just like, it hits him. He realizes that it's him. He realizes how fucked up his shit is and stuff like that. And it's right there when he puts the gun and he points it at his own reflection.
Yeah, he is. I'll get into this more when I get into mine, but he is a connection of empathy.
Right. I mean, it's right then, where you see it, and he's just like, he realizes, what I'm saying, how far he has went away from himself and the things that matter and whatever. He realizes all that just in that one big instance right there. I mean, he's had his family taken away from him. He's had himself taken away from him, and he had somebody fucking he threw away himself and he threw away his family, and he had somebody fucking put it right there in front of him in the forefront, and he was just like, I mean, and at that point he realized that he was his own fault. He was his own killer.
Yeah. And look at it this way also. You look at Detective Karada, who, connection to empathy, you can name off a bunch of his traits. You look at Genesis, connection to ego. You can name a ton of his traits. How many traits can you name me off Mitsuko, who is the one who makes it out of this alive?
I mean, he just fucking trying his...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitsuko she makes that alive. It says she is connected to herself. She is who she is. You can't tell me a single fucking trait about her. You can't, her connections.
She's clever.
But that's my thing. The whole question of this movie is, how are you connected to yourself? And the answer is, it's really hard to explain how you're connected to yourself when everything you talk about yourself is your materialism, your job, your connection to other people.
It's what in today's world, it's what identifies us.
Exactly. And the one person who makes it out alive, who the children accept as being connected to themselves truly, you can't name a fucking trait about her.
It's like I said, man. There's a lot of shit going on in this.
Yeah. All right. You want me to move it along to Heather?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Why do I have to go after Kenneth? I feel like...
Hey, this is my life every time.
My God. Okay. Well, let's see if I can bring it. So I agree with Kenneth on a lot of the stuff he had to say. Where I differ, first of all, I totally agree. It's about connection to ourselves, and definitely I think we all got that point there. What I really found fascinating about this movie is that it was made in 2001, and I've never seen something more relevant to 2019. If we look at where I went with social connections and the connection that all the characters had to other people, and that's kind of how they developed themselves from. So even when they're talking to the police detective, sorry, I don't remember his name, over the phone and naming off his wife and his kids and your connection to them, I got the impression that that's who he was connected to. He was not connected to himself. And Jerry and I were chatting online, and it made me think of me. I'm very connected to my job. I'm blessed. I love what I do. I have no complaints with going to work every day. But I am an extrovert, and I am very connected to others, and I get my energy from others. And as time has gone on and my friends have had to move to different areas, get married, have kids.
We invited a psychic vampire onto the fucking show. You never invite them.
So life has changed, and I don't have those relationships anymore. And when I was chatting with Jerry, I was like, holy fuck, am I connected? Because so much, and I'm going to be very honest with you guys, a lot of my self-identity comes from what other people think of me. I do care. I'd love to walk around and be like, I don't give a shit what people think. That's not true. I do care. I care about being a good friend. I care about engaging with people. So that this movie to me spoke to the social media and the development that the disconnect has come from others, that we have a difficult time connecting with ourselves because we're so busy worrying about what other people think of what we do and what we say and how we dress and where we work and what we have, that we're so disconnected from our own internal self. So that's where I went with the movie, and everything else that Kenneth said, just kind of maybe a little slightly different flair to it.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start reading my couple of paragraphs.
His book.
Yeah. Okay. So, are you living for yourself, or are you living for society? You're more connected to a band than your own self. Without these things, what are you? Are you just your job or your favorite band? Suicide being a big problem in Japan, Japan loves to bring on how the internet connects people by making them isolate themselves in front of a screen. Some losing themselves even more to pop culture. Following trends because you don't know yourself. Just the image you hope to create based on what's happening around you and not inside of you. At some point, much like the bat, you become a ghost typing on the internet, which is shown in the scene where she is covered in a blanket typing on the internet, being told what to type by outside forces. Yeah, what video on the internet has fucking made that connection, bitch?
You need to make a video for the fucking...
I would love to. Anyway.
Silence. Let the man finish.
At some point, much like the bat, you become a ghost typing on the internet. You went too deep, and the father doesn't know his son has a tattoo. Your connection to this world are to other things. He has his wife, his children, and his job. But which one is the priority? And if you are connected to yourself, is it in a way that has empathy or ego? They accuse Karad of having no empathy, maybe because of his job, while Genesis had the connection of ego. He was connected to himself, but wanted his ego to connect to the world. How do we live on after death, and what connections are left? And the children represent that connection to yourself. It's what you had before you were connected to the world, before a job or a relationship. It's the innocence of not having empathy or ego and not having to understand how either of one of those can affect the world. You see it into the Misuko character, who literally has barely no traits, except for the fact that she is strong and independent, and does not need the younger detective, does not need her boyfriend. In both cases, when reached out by them, her boyfriend dying, she walks away saying, I have to keep living. When reached out by the young detective, she keeps going. She doesn't need his fucking umbrella. She keeps going. She finds out the mystery on her own. She keeps moving forward. But she has no outside traits. You cannot connect her to her family. You cannot connect her to her boyfriend. You cannot connect her to a band. You cannot connect her to really anything. So at the end of the movie, after you look at Mail Me, after you look at connections with others, after you look at jigsaw puzzle, after you look at your connection with society and your job, you have to look at your connection with yourself, and you have to live as you please. And that's the last message. She maybe had no traits, but she knew herself. If you can at least know yourself, maybe after that you can have traits. But first you have to love yourself. You have to find yourself. You have to figure out your own connection to empathy and your own connection to ego. You have to properly sort out everything, and that's a very hard thing to do. So at the end of the day, yes, you will always have a connection to materialism, your family, your job, but what are you prioritizing? If you prioritize one over the other, even if you're using the other as a reason. For instance, if Kenneth works 60 hours a week to provide for his family, technically he's prioritizing his family, but in all reality, he's prioritizing his job and using his family as the reason for it. But his family is missing him because he is trying to provide for them. It's a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. So you can't have that. You have to cut that connection. Your favorite band might bring you joy. They might bring you happiness. But if they go away, what do you have? You have past memories. You're living in the past. You're not moving forward. Once again, not helping you. If you're forcing yourself to connect with society to fit in, you're not truly connecting to yourself. So at the end of the day, you have to recognize your connection with everything. You have to recognize those connections as either empathy or ego. And then you have to realize what you are without them and what you are with them. Because that is the only way you will truly find yourself connected with yourself. And you will never be able to explain how you are connected with yourself. Because, one, we all go through the phases of trying to find who we are. I'm just doing me right now, trying to figure me out. You're going to go through your whole life. But if you can realize your connections with everything around you and understand if they lie with empathy or ego, you will find yourself on the right path to understanding yourself, connecting with yourself, and finding a way to live without traits. Because all of those traits you can put into one or two baskets, ego or empathy. And that is how I see this movie. It is yes, it is talking about suicide. Yes, it is talking about our addiction to materialism, or ego and fame and trends and fads, or our connection with just grinding ourselves at work, and as Kenneth quoting, just whoring ourselves out. Yes, we have connections with all these other people, but we lose ourselves in all of that and forget by using reasons of ego or empathy. Kenneth uses the reason of empathy. He whores himself at his job so he can provide for his family. That is empathy. But he also whores himself out for materialistic stuff. That is ego. So how can you look at all these connections in your life, figure out the truth of that connection, and hopefully you can use that to find your connection with yourself? And that is how I see Suicide Club.
Shall we start the slow clap here?
So, Jerry, do you want to come to the University of Guelph for a speaking engagement in the fall?
Hey, if y'all will fly, if y'all
I'll
will
pay for it, Jerry. You can stay with me. We'll take you there.
If someone
I
will,
could do a dissertation on the Matrix if you're giving out free trips to visit you.
Yeah,
no,
you know,
they want
anytime you boys are
information
welcome
on
here. Anytime.
they want information on good things, Jeff.
I will kill you.
When it really comes down to it, I mean, you did I'm gonna be honest with you, you did a phenomenal job, man. You got out a lot of the stuff that I was thinking, leaving out the connection with empathy and ego, but a lot of the other things you basically fucking put it into words exactly what I was saying. Your connection with fucking materialism and all these other things that fucking distracts us from bigger picture type things. And so you did a great job. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you tied together what we were all saying, Jerry, and then just went with it even further.
Yeah, exactly.
I have been working on. I actually reviewed this movie on the ABCs of Hidden Horror, but I didn't go as deep on my explanation, because that's kind of a spoiler-free review, so I couldn't go deep. And that's why I wanted to do this movie. I wanted to go deep and I wanted to explain it. I would even love to go through this entire movie and go beat by beat and kind of point out, where all my evidence is and all of that. It would just take a long fucking time.
How many times have you watched this movie, Jerry? Just to understand.
I probably watched this movie at least 20 times.
Yeah, so it makes sense that you would have this deep of an understanding.
Just in this past 2 weeks, I've watched the movie 3 times. Mm-hmm. To make sure I got all my P's and Q's in order. And it's just one of those movies I love to watch, because I just love how it represents suicide. I love how it represents internet horror, even though internet horror is not as big. Internet horror is mostly just in the Bat and Genesis angle. But I think this movie is so deep and so widespread. Like Kenneth said, there's so many layers to it. There's so much stuff going on. There, you can take one scene and bust it out into one thing, and there it feels like there's 3 separate stories going on based off 3 separate characters, and their supporting characters, and they all intermingle over this subject, and it's one that I just really wanted to go over. And when I found out Jay and Kenneth had never seen the movie, I had to jump on it and be like, we got to do this movie. I really want to. And then I was like, I'm going to recommend you guys watch this movie twice with maybe a week in between, because it's going to be a lot to take in. And I do want to say this. I am proud of all of y'all. Y'all got so much more out of this movie on your first 1 or 2 watches than what I did. Because when I first watched this movie, I was just like, that was fucking awesome. I have no idea what just happened.
I watched it twice, though, in 72 hours.
Yes.
So I found that it was very draining emotionally. I'll be honest, watching it twice in that short period of time.
Yeah. I also watched this movie when I was a teenager, though. Yeah. So my understanding was not nearly as great, because Kenneth knew me as a teenager. I was
smart.
Smart.
Fun to be around.
I heard you had a good time, Jerry. You shared some stories with me. It sounds like you were a lot of fun as a teenager.
I was a lot of fun. I was a dick. Oh my God, was I a dick?
You were definitely a cock.
I was. Our Kenneth and I's mutual friend did not want us to meet because she was like, "Nope, you're an asshole, and Kenneth will punch you in the face."
But it didn't happen.
I think you've shared with it on the podcast before, but just in case you haven't, what was your very first that you ever said to me, Jerry?
So what, are you like a burn victim or something?
Oh my God.
I did not get a hey. I didn't get a what's going on. Nothing. When Jerry looked up at me, that was the very first thing that he said.
And okay, Kenneth, I gotta know, real talk. What was your first reaction?
I appreciated Jerry's level of honesty.
Like, for real? You weren't like, who the fuck is this dude?
I mean, look at it, man. We've been friends for fucking goddamn how long now?
Fuck me.
Since you were fucking, what, 16?
Yeah, so going on like 14, 15 years?
Yeah. And that's where it's, Jerry's level of honesty impressed me so much that's the reason why we became friends.
I have
awesome.
I have more of a filter now. Now I give when I'm honest with someone, but I have a version of honesty that fits that person. So very few people get my outright honesty. Like Kenneth gets my outright honesty. Because I know even if it offends him, we're all good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I try to make, in any relationship that I get in with any person, I try to make that very clear. It's just like, I do not give a shit if you offend me. I would rather have your honesty. And so many people out there, they just don't fucking understand that. They don't think that you mean it to the level that you do when you say it. And a lot of times when people say that, they don't. They don't really mean it. They don't take the time to take that into consideration, how brutally honest somebody can be if they fucking completely omit the filter between their brain and their mouth.
Yeah. And when people talk about not having a filter, I legit did not have a filter. I did not. And I'm tiny. I could get my ass kicked by a fucking chipmunk. It's not going to take much. And I just had no filter. But I always had people around me that looked way scarier. So I can say whatever I want when Kenneth's standing right next to me, because what the fuck are you going to do about it? Not a goddamn thing. He looks like he will beat the living shit out of you and leave you in an alley looking like a Jack the Ripper victim. You're not going to do shit to me.
Sounds like fun, too.
So I had no filter. I didn't. I would say stuff that I knew would piss you off or get under your fucking skin. I would walk up to a preacher and just make out with a guy right in front of him to piss him the fuck off.
Like, that sounds like an entertaining time with you on a Friday night.
And see, the thing about it is Jerry's not bullshitting either. There was a couple of times when he would just fucking poke the fucking bear with me standing next to him, and then the person would get pissed off and then look at me and leave him alone.
I totally buy that. I absolutely think that is exactly what happened a lot.
Because when me and Jerry were hanging out on a regular basis when we were both young, he was a dick, and I just flat did not give a fuck.
Did you just give them that blank stare, Kenneth?
There wasn't a blank stare. There was one time where a mutual friend of ours pissed me off, and Jerry was holding me as I was trying to get down a flight of stairs after this guy.
Wow.
To this day, I don't know how I was holding him. Like, I'm not strong. And, like, the biggest part of my arm is my elbow.
Well, you weren't the only one that was there. I can't remember who else was there, but Jerry was the one that was in between me and him.
Kenneth did eventually break loose, and Kenneth did eventually chase this guy.
I mean, because during that time period, there was like Jerry didn't have a filter, and like I said, I didn't care. I just flat didn't care. It was a very interesting time for both of us. And at the drop of a hat, if somebody would piss me off, it was either we were going to be fucking swinging or get the fuck out of my house. I didn't give a fuck who it was. I didn't care how long I known you. The two biggest rules was you don't disrespect me in my house and you do not fuck with my best friend.
Yeah, it's good.
I like
because Kenneth and I, when we have debates,
so it was an interesting time.
Sounds like good times. Are you guys still like that? What's going to happen next weekend? Is Jerry going to go and
Kenneth doesn't drink, so he won't come and drink with
Jerry
me.
would just get drunk and fucking.
I would just get
fucking,
drunk.
If he's over at his dad's, he's got a free pass anyway.
I'm looking forward to some shirtless pictures, Jerry. Let me just tell you, I better get some drunk photos that night.
So after some technical difficulties, I'm back with all the guys and girls. I was asking, is there anything else we want to talk about before we get out of here? And apparently, I couldn't hear them, they couldn't hear me. They three could hear each other, and Kenneth was on a heartfelt speech, and I missed it. So there's that.
It was beautiful. Jay and I enjoyed it.
I think Jay was masturbating.
By the way, you can get a Suicide Club inspired Kill the Cat shirt, or I want to get it as a coffee mug, but with all the dots, the red dots and the white dots on a computer screen, it's fucking awesome. So you should get that now that you've seen Suicide Club. Yes, ma'am.
Did you want to do this episode because the shirt came out, or because the shirt came out, we started talking about the movie, and you're like, oh, wait, you guys have never seen it? We need to do that as an episode.
Pretty much, yeah. It was the latter. I was...
Yeah, see, isn't it funny for everybody out there that the Kill the Cat shirt came out with something on the front of it that two of the hosts have never seen? So it's like you see the Kill the Cat shirt and you're like...
Well, I bought it to support the show because why not?
Well, I think everybody out there should do that. I mean, everybody that listens to this show should go immediately and buy either that or an Underwater Kaiju shirt.
Plus, you get to be super hipster having a shirt that nobody's going to get the reference to, and you can walk around all smug.
Yeah, if someone gets the reference to that, like, you're just like, okay, you're cool. And when someone's like, what does your shirt mean? You're like, dude, you haven't seen Suicide Club? What kind of fucking horror fan are you? It's like, point my nose up. What do you only watch Friday the 13th?
That was me like 2 weeks ago.
Jerry, when I was watching the Suicide Club and I saw the screen, I thought, oh my fucking God, that's where you got the shirt. I lost my mind and messaged you and Jay right away because I was so excited that I figured out where the design came from.
Yeah, and shout out to Mike the Russian from The Nihilist, who helped me with doing the Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space. retro poster shirt and the Kill the Cat Suicide Club shirt.
So what are we gonna do next? Are we gonna like do Martyrs, or are we gonna do Three Extremes?
Oh, as a shirt or a movie?
No, on the movie, on the show.
Oh man, we could do. Oh no, Martyrs. You said Martyrs. I was gonna say I was thinking Inside for a reason. We could totally do a pregnant chick having a baby cut out of her. That's an awesome shirt.
That would be
A
cool.
pregnant chick getting killed with cast cut out of her.
Yes. Oh,
That would be awesome. That would be so
Contact my
fucking
artist
cool.
friend.
I've got a band T-shirt. I've got a band T-shirt where a dude's blowing his head off and all the fucking skull and brain matter and shit's flying over the top of it. It's pretty fucking cool. It's just my fat ass can't wear that shirt anymore.
Fair enough.
I'm sad, man.
But you're talking about reviewing. I would love to review Martyrs.
I think it'd be great.
It's time for a rewatch.
I don't think that movie incites as much talk as one would think, because I think clearly there are two answers to that movie depending on your view of faith. But I think it would be interesting to see us have that conversation.
I think in today's climate, the extended version of the first story in Three Extremes would be good.
Which one is that? Dumpling?
Yeah.
Dumpling, okay. Have you ever watched... Yeah, I was about to say, have you ever watched the full movie version of that?
Yeah, I've got it. The version of Three Extremes that I've got's got that and the fucking... What's the word I'm looking for? Movie that's got 3 stories in it. Kind of like Creepshow. Anthology.
Anthology.
Yeah, it's got the anthology in it, and it's got Dumpling. But like I said, I think in today's climate, with everything that's going on, Dumpling would be an interesting one to review.
Yeah, I agree. Dumpling is a very fucking interesting movie. I would also love to talk about like Takashi Miike's Imprint.
That's a fucked up movie too.
Yeah, that one's fucked up. That one will make you fucking cringe, man. That one's fucking brutal. I would love I love Asian horror. I'm a big fan. I can highly recommend some fucking Asian horror. Like, I would love to do well, Kenneth and I already did it actually, so never mind. I was gonna say I'd love to do I Saw the Devil. Kenneth and I already did that one.
Yeah, you did.
And Kenneth didn't like it as much as he should.
I was just fixing to say, let's do that again, so that way I can tell more people how I just wasn't that impressed with it.
Oh my god, I hate when
I've never actually seen it.
Wrong. Oh, Jay, you would love it.
That was back when you guys were like, it was like every other episode you were like, Kenneth has time, let's do a movie.
Yeah, because we couldn't line up with how we all worked. It was fucking impossible. Now, currently we're good because we all have we record same time every night, Sunday night, and that's when we record. Be there or be square, and it works out for us. But yeah, tons of movies I would love to do. Heather, what movies would you like for us to do?
I was actually just thinking of that. I really liked it when you guys did some top 10s. Now I know you've done like a top 10. What was the top 10 you guys did? Like your favorite movies?
We did
it with Carly.
Yeah, we did our top 10 favorite movies. We did our best of decades, which we could do it again, but we'd be fucking with decades that Jay doesn't have a lot of experience with.
What about
Listen, but I might have more
of the
experience
United
than we
States,
think.
though?
I just have to look at them.
What about if you guys did international horror?
Like
and you chose maybe 5 movies or whatever, 3 movies each.
To review or do a top?
To review, like your top 3.
Well, because then
I don't know if we could do 9 movies.
That's reviewing 9 movies.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That'd be that'd be like a 5-hour episode, which I've heard from other podcasts.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing a 5-hour episode.
Me either.
I've
but
done.
I think you guys
really
should do some
long
more
ones.
foreign films. I think that's not foreign, but outside of North America.
So definitely porn. Got it.
Well, we
Yeah,
could.
porn, sure. Absolutely.
Haven't we done a show like that before? Haven't we done a show where we did like our favorite and then our runner-up?
That would be the best of shows where we did like the best of the 1980s, and then we did like.
Right. So why can't we do? Because I've actually got. After doing this, I actually want to do something with where we do something like that with international films, because all of us enjoy certain international films. Like I really dig Asian horror, and I dig fucking German horror. German horror is really good.
Would you want to just do like a top 10 international, or like specifically like a top 10 Asian? Because I would love to do a top 10 Asian horror.
I mean, that'd be cool.
Any Asian country?
Any Asian country.
Yeah, Koreans put out some fucking weird shit.
That's actually a fair amount of countries
I
and
had-
movies to cheer from.
My only problem is one of my
I don't know how much I've seen.
one of my favorite South Korean movies I wouldn't even be able to put on the list because I just don't really consider Old Boy horror, even though it's one of the best films to come out.
I was thinking about that earlier, man. Fuck. Okay, this is one time where I'm gonna say we fuck the main subject matter here. I would love to do Old Boy on this show.
Oh, I would. Oh, dude, no. If we want to review Old Boy, I am all fucking about it.
I am completely down. That movie is so fucking good.
Oh my god, yes. I will fucking have sex with that movie.
I have never forgotten to this day. Jerry convinced me to watch that.
Yes.
That was a badass.
It's a great movie.
It really is. I love that movie. If you've never seen Old Boy, the original Korean version, you need to watch it, and it has a really good dub, so you can watch it in English.
I think I have I'm gonna look at my movie list.
I've got the
DVD.
Blu-ray sitting over here. But it's absolutely phenomenal. You need to see that. But
I do not have Old Boy.
I would
Don't pay attention to the American one.
Yeah, don't watch the American one unless you just want to see Elizabeth Olsen naked. And
Yeah,
Josh
that movie was
Brolin
just-
naked.
That movie was just not good.
Yeah, no. It misses the whole. It just didn't hit. But yeah, I would love to do like a top 10 Asian or a top 10 international. One, I always love to tackle more international movies. Though to be fair, we've done a pretty good job. We've tackled quite a bit of international movies. We've covered quite a bit of Italian films. We've done Asian films. We've done we did Marabito. We've done I Saw the Devil. We have tackled Germany with Cannibal.
Mm-hmm.
Have we ever done a British film?
Well, you'd always do Shaun
We
of
could
the
do
Dead.
28 Days.
I like Shaun of the Dead more than 28 Days, but I feel like 28 Days is...
Oh,
more
let's do it
horror.
then. If you don't fucking like it, let's do it.
I know I don't... It's not that I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of zombie films, even though this is more of a virus film. I still lump virus films under zombie.
Well, maybe I should save that for that episode. I have a whole speech about that movie being a zombie film.
Okay. Yeah, so people who are listening, let us know what you want us to do. Throw some ideas. I've got tons of ideas in the bag. It's just a matter of like mixing them in with what y'all might want to hear on top of what I just want to do or Kenneth and Jay want to do.
Well, I know eventually we're going to tackle The Matrix because Jay and I want to do it, and Jerry's just going to come along for the ride.
Doesn't Jerry hate The Matrix?
I do.
That's the point.
Jerry
That's
hates
the
action
point.
I
episodes.
hate The Matrix, Jerry. Like, I don't love action either. I'm not a huge action fan, but The Matrix is a pretty good movie.
Because I've seen
fuck?
Ghost
I
in the
guess-
Shell.
It's not anything like that.
Except for all the style from Ghost in the Shell they fucking jack
I'm sorry,
off.
I can't say anything. I watched the fucking video the other day about The Matrix, and when I watched that, and then after I watched Ghost in the Shell, there are clearly shit that goddamn the Wachowski brothers ripped off of Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, yeah.
So, listen, they definitely have their inspirations, but
It's
Homage
still an
and rip
entertaining
off.
movie. It's still a good movie.
I guess
Homage,
now the Wachowski sisters.
homage and rip off are merely a point of view.
Right. I mean, because there's some things in there that's just like, but I still think that The Matrix is a fucking great movie.
We'll do we'll do a fucking Jerry Hates Action. I'm down. I mean, I don't care. Like I'll do it on The Matrix. I've got the Blu-ray. Kenneth bought me the 4K, so I'm gonna watch it in fucking 4K.
Yeah, that was a guarantee that we have to do it because I fucking spent goddamn almost $25 on that Blu-ray.
Yeah. So
did I give you the code? I put the code in the group for Kenneth.
This was
to have.
long before that.
Oh, well, I thought you were.
It was the first time that you did, and I took them. But this was like when we first talked about Jerry doing The Matrix. I was just like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, I
we're
remember
fucking.
that. I just
yeah.
couldn't. I couldn't remember if you needed the code or what the deal was.
Oh no, I got them. I mean, hell, I got the movies already. I just didn't have them in digital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I've got.
Yeah, I upgraded my Blu-ray when I got my 4K TV. It was the first movies
Like-
I bought 4K.
The Blu-ray that I've got for the first Matrix film is the one that looks like a book. That's
Oh,
got.
that's cool.
Yeah, it looks like a book, and it's like iridescent on the outside and shit. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll have to do. Then we'll be doing a Jerry Hates Action at some point over the summer, and it will most likely be on It will be on the Matrix. That will be the next episode of Jerry Hates Action.
So excited for the Matrix.
Oh fuck me. Other than that, I don't know what the next Kill the Cast episode is going to be. I'm obviously going on vacation for 4th of July. So it may be like 2 or 3 weeks before another episode actually comes out. Cause,
yeah, I think Jerry has given me creative reign to pick the next one.
Yeah, Kenneth picks the next episode of Kill the Cast.
Sweet, so we're all watching Emmanuel in space.
Woohoo! Yeah, baby.
Yo, I fuck with the Emmanuel movies. You ever read the fucking real life story on that shit? It's crazy.
No, I just thought they were softcore porn.
They are softcore porn. But still.
Humanoids from the deep.
I love Humanoids from the Deep.
Yeah, we reviewed that movie like 12 times, guys.
Yeah.
I think we're finally gonna do it, guys. I know exactly what we're gonna do. We're finally gonna do it. A Wet Dream on Elm Street.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Oh my god.
It should only if it's a Coliseum against the Friday the 13th one.
You want us to do a horror Coliseum on
Porn against
porn?
Oh, I do. Oh, yes, I
totally
do.
down. That would be amazing.
Oh my god.
I'm telling you, guys.
I'm over here like, I would like to do a horror Coliseum on Pulse versus Cairo so we can get into how depression is related to the internet society. And Heather's over here like...
Freddy's dick and Jason's dick, which one's bigger?
She's over here like...
Kenneth talk about it. That's all.
You guys want to do a horror Coliseum on Edward Penis Hands? Because that'd be cool.
Fuck yeah. I'm telling you, man, we have been talking about doing a porno on this show for 3 fucking years. Let's do it.
Well, Kenneth, I gave you free range. If you say it, we can literally do it next weekend before I go on vacation for 4th of July. If you want to do it...
I want to record that show with you here.
No. I'm saying, well, I don't go on vacation this weekend. I go on the vacation the weekend after.
I'm just saying, if we do a porno, if we do a porno, I want fucking you looking me in the face.
Oh my god.
He's like, yes. Come on, Jerry. Let's talk about cocks and tits. Let's do this.
And that's the scene I came to.
Okay. Well, our next episode might be reviewing a porno. I don't know. Kenneth has full control over the next episode, so don't blame me. Blame him and Heather.
Yeah, I'll take blame. I think it'd be funny, fucking hilarious.
Or congratulate.
Yeah, you might get the most listeners ever, Jerry.
Maybe. I don't fucking know. The next episode of Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space for July will be on the original Mothra. We just did Godzilla vs. Biollante, where we pissed a bunch of people off. So that was fun. And I've got some guest appearances on Married with Children coming up. So check that out if you're into the Married with Children podcast. And I'm streaming now, and Jay is going to be working on some YouTube videos soon, hopefully. So that should be dope.
So I got one more long week ahead of me, and then my evenings are finally opened up. So
yeah,
I should be less tired on my days off and able to pump out some content.
Jerry,
what?
Can I say something before we end?
Yes. You can say whatever you want as long as it's not trying to convince me to do a horror Coliseum on porno.
Well, no. So I was talking to Jerry, and I would really like to do an all-female podcast. So I just wondered if I could do a little announcement out to any female listeners that if they're interested, to find me on Facebook. Maybe we can chat about doing one in the future.
Yes, I will. I've already offered to host it on Kill the Cast, and I will also help with producing it, editing, and helping tighten up and help all that shit, help record it and all that. So if you are interested in doing that with Heather, reach out to her, or if you don't have her, reach out to me, and I'll get y'all linked up. And become an all-female podcast. And I'll put it out on Kill the Cast's feed. I will help produce it, all that jazz.
Jerry's awesome.
I will literally sit in and be quiet unless they go,
no, we wouldn't want you to be quiet.
Hey, producer Jerry, blah blah blah. Then I'll talk. Otherwise, I'm just going to help. I'm just going to be a producer. So if you want to make that happen, hit up Heather. It'll be dope. And like I said, I will help and as much as I can on it. So
He'll be a producer like Spielberg was on Poltergeist.
okay, let's not go that far.
Thanks, Jerry.
Not a problem. So with that being said, thank you for joining us here at Kill the Cast. Check us out on YouTube. Check out our new shirts. Check out Kenneth's Instagram. There are links in the description for all that jazz. Come join us in the Facebook group. If you like horror memes, check out the Facebook page. I am on there killing it with Facebook memes. I know about it. On that game. And if you want a little bit of more than me, but you want to see me play video games, come check out the fucking stream. You can check out Kenneth on Chatterbait. Not on there. He's usually just watching, but you can see him on there.
I'm on my free cam also.
And my free
Silent
cams.
Hill 66. That's me.
You can find him. So check that out. You can also check out Jay and I, 2 diabetics, 1 needle.
Oh, that insulin is so good. Oh, fuck, I don't feel any cramps.
I need some insulin, man. You got to make me come first. Then you'll get your insulin.
That right there is going to be my next set of stickers that I order from Sticker Mule.
What?
2 diabetics, 1 needle.
So, yeah, you can check us on all that jazz. Thank you for joining us for this very deep episode. And then for our crazy talk afterwards.
Yeah.
And let us know in the Facebook group what you would like to hear us do, or in the YouTube comments. We're there. We are available on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere you can find
Pornhub.
a fucking podcast.
Pornhub.
Technically, we could. I can actually make a Pornhub account and put us on there.
That'd be awesome.
Kenneth, one day, if you drive up here, I will set us up and fucking record us doing a commentary over a porno.
Nice.
And upload it to Pornhub.
Can we Dutch rudder it while we're doing it? Because we can put that on Pornhub too, sweetheart.
Technically, yes, we can. I don't think people want to see 2 tiny dicks jack off to Edward Penis Hands, but you never know what the world wants.
Guys, just send me the link when you're done so I can watch it.
Okay.
It's like that fucking line on Zach and Miri make a porno, man. If it's somebody that I know, I'll totally watch it.
Yeah, don't invite me to your wedding. Invite me to your honeymoon night.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you get married. I want to see you fuck. So.
Yeah, it's more entertaining.
Dim the rules. So, thank you for joining us. We love you. I'm fucking awful at outros, because the dead shine all night long. Thank you to Heather for joining us for this lovely occasion. We also, you can earn 3 points by guessing how many times Jay has tried to kill himself, how many times I have tried to kill myself, and if you've listened to our past episodes, if you can remember what I tried to use to kill myself back in October, you can earn points off this. It's now a video game.
The answer is Prime for me, by the way.
So, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. We are going to get out of here. Anyone got anything last things they say? Jay, got any last words?
No, I love you guys. Don't kill yourself by jumping in front of a train without telling me first.
Yeah, he wants to watch it in Toronto. Heather, you got any parting words for the audience?
No, just thanks for having me back. It's always good times.
I said for the audience, not us. Anyway, Kenneth, you got any parting words?
Cocks and tits.
You heard it here first. We are a highbrow podcast.
おとなしく聞け
空は何度も青く人はなぜかいつも恋に落ちてゆく見知らぬ黄色い犬が僕らの中を咲いていつも笑う Because dead Because it's a shine on arrow ブレソンの映画に出てくるジャンヌのように美しくしたいレッスン1でシェービングクリーム塗りたくて笑いながら心そぎ落とす Because that Because that Because that's a shine on the road 涙の乾いた方の後濡らす春雨のぬめりよ何にも知らない5歳の坊やが切り刻まれて死んでゆく Because that Because that Because that's a shine on the wrong Because that Because that Because that's a shine on the wrong
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Helming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick 6 Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, 2 Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.